Hey guys. All right. Here's the gear for today. Trying a new soap to me. And Zingari Man. Is it a Nomad? Is the scent. We're going to be doing, working it up with a brush. This is the Smogue 80266. I think maybe I'm starting to remember the number for this one. I'm not sure. This is a Fatip open comb. And it's got the Grande handle. It's the hollow one, but it's thicker. But this is the Mark 1. This is their first version they released that people think, and I believe it is, a little bit more aggressive than the current model. But it's not too much aggressive, at least to me. I don't have a tough face. And so there are definitely lots of guys that like to shave with more aggressive things than I do. But to me, this is not that aggressive, at least so far. I figured it'd be a good change because I read a comment from a viewer on a recent video that said, hey, why don't you try that Mark 1 on the Nacet blade that's got so many uses? Why not? The Mark 2 open comb is working well for you with that blade. Let's see how the Mark 1 does. So why not? Let's do it. So the Nacet is what we're using today. And it has 343 uses on it prior to this shave. So we're going to tack another one on. The soap is, as I mentioned, Nomad from Zingari Man. It is the Sego base, her kind of newest tallow base, Sweetbay, lime, and rum. And many times a bay rum type scent is, it's a genre that a lot of makers have put out a soap in. And many of them are similar. I read the write-up on this one. This one was focusing on maybe a fresher take, not quite so spicy. And that's a big plus for me because if it's got too much of that clove type of scent, maybe there's another couple of scent notes that are in there that are equally kind of bothersome to my nose. Then I don't like those. And this promises not to be one of those. I smelled it from the tub, and indeed it is fresher, cleaner, sweeter. Not sweeter like food at all, but just not as harsh as a lot of those other bay rum. So I'm looking forward to this guy. Strength off the puck, I'm also encouraged with. I had a recent one, the newest one with the Lighthouse, the Watchman, was a recent release by Zingari Man, and that one was too weak for me, and I could kind of tell off the puck that it was going to be too weak. So I'm hoping this is going to be a little stronger. And let us get the brush back in the water. It has been soaking for several minutes, so I'm glad we are not going to have a problem with that. It's going to definitely be hydrated enough. And this is my only Omega. I've got two others, and it is soft. It is more like a Smogue than the other Omegas. It feels good. Some of the tips have split, not a lot of them, but it's easy to splay. It's not a really dense knot, but it's inexpensive, and so I can definitely recommend this one to folks. And I can't wait till more of the tips start to split to see how he's going to behave. Otherwise, if it wasn't for this guy, I would kind of be writing off most Omegas as not fitting my own preferences. You may like them if you like scritch and kind of long lofts, where you really get big, huge, weird splays, then that Omegas might be right for you. All right, so here's the Nacet blade. And let's put it on the Mark 1. I am so glad that they made a little issue with the Mark 1. See, there's no Fatip embossing or pressed logo. It would be between the outer edge and the first hole, whether down here or up on this side, you would see it. So nothing means Mark 1. All right. It's just a little bit more aggressive of a feel. Still, I found it when I used more normal use blades like under 10 or under 12 or something. I found it very enjoyable. Just a little bit more. Oh yeah, I could see that is quite a bit more blade exposure than with the other Fatips. I'm sorry, with the Mark 1. And I am having to adjust the blade just a little bit, but that didn't take too long. As you can know if you do too much internet research that the Fatips, they did have some quality issues at one point, and that kind of hurt the brand a little bit. But one of the other issues was just alignment. Sometimes people found it hard to get them aligned, and that hasn't been my experience. And you've seen me align mine for this whole month, and it just hasn't really been too arduous, or hasn't taken up very much time at all. Okay, so that's in place, and let me get my face wet. I was able to get a tub of the number 1 that Zingari Man makes, and wonderful scent there, and nice scent strength. I was very happy with that. But I think most of the other ones that I've tried, including several samples, have been very low strength. She is focused on skin care, and part of that often involves low strength soaps. It happens that way with different vendors. They don't want to have something that's so concentrated that it affects people's faces, causing them to break out or irritation. For instance, I regularly see posts online about Sterling's Barbershop. It doesn't have a problem with me at all. I really enjoy it. It's one of my favorites. But there's some ingredient in there that does cause people problems, at least on a small, some people, a few people. And it's enough to where you notice it. It's just allergies or the intensity of the fragrance. They need something a little softer. And so she's coming from that perspective of let's fix that problem. Unfortunately, the byproduct is less scent oils so that your skin is not messed up, means less scent oils for your nose to enjoy. And that often means that I don't buy very many of those soaps, like the whole Stubble Buster line of soaps. Wonderful lather, great performance, made by a good company, inexpensive. So that would be one that you could recommend easily to new shavers, but the scent is almost not there. I just could barely even smell it. And so I can't recommend that to new shavers. It used to be the Bear Stearns Man Lather line was one of the ones that we recommended for new guys wondering about just wanting a good soap for a good price. Well, Stubble Buster was poised to kind of take that place, but the scent was just not really there. I rarely hear about them anymore. Now the aftershave products, nice and strong, very enjoyable. Anyway, so let's load up. This has already been brush loaded by the prior owner, and so I don't have a problem brush loading it again. If I thought that I might be selling it, I would scoop it, but since it's been brush loaded, we'll just continue with that. All right, let's do, why don't we do 25 seconds? And 0 is about to roll around right there. Just kind of medium pressure. Now there are all kinds of loading ideas. You can just have very little light pressure. The Marco method, I believe, uses very light pressure, but you load for a lot longer. You can press down harder if you want. Just play around, whatever gets you, what you want is just fine. I just like kind of a medium pressure. And then what you saw develop right here on the soap, see it's very wet. It is definitely a kind of an early sign of a lather. It's not pasty or thick at all, so the water was able to engage with that top layer of soap and let it start to absorb into the brush, pick it up off of the puck and onto the brush. I like to keep the threads clean, so I do, because I don't like those caps that kind of bind up on you. All right, so Sweetbay lime and rum. The citrus hit, the lime hit on this is definitely more pronounced than the bay rum type notes. And this may mean that it's well suited to me. Now what we're going to find out is, does it take it over? Does it totally push back the bay and the rum and the spicy kind of elements? We'll see what happens. Is it just lime with a hint of some other things? Who knows? This little brush came to me after I started what I've been calling my Boarathon. I picked some representative brushes, some Boar brushes to bring up all at the same time. several Semogues, Sterling Boar brush, Zeniths, Omegas. I've taken a couple of the Omegas out because they just, it looks like I wasn't going to enjoy them. But this guy's still in there. But he's a latecomer to the party. A lot of them I've gotten to about 23, 24 uses. And this guy is not that far. I'm confident we're going to be able to use up 2 teaspoons of water. So why not? Let's just try adding all that at once. I will stir slowly after adding so much water so that we don't splash any out. Sego base has just been wonderful in my testing. Even with the soaps that had low scent, base is still fantastic. Now you notice I never do that plunging operation like that some guys mashing type thing. Pumping, sometimes it's called. I just do swirls like this. I will sometimes do back and forth as well. I will also do a push down where I'm bringing the lather down from the sides. And as you can see, I'm not plunging, I'm not pressing the brush very much. It is expanding, it's splaying just a little bit, maybe the first third of the bristles. So it's definitely not any kind of mashing motion. I don't think that treats the brush very well usually. So probably get away with it with a synthetic. But I want to be very kind to my natural hair brushes. I think that's just a little too severe. And I don't think it's needed. I get great lathers without doing that. Sometimes pumping, all it does is bring air into your lather. As you can see, it's taken a minute to integrate that water, but it is there. Look at that elasticity. Still got some viscosity with it. You know, it was holding together. It just didn't instantly drop. So I am going to, we're not looking at a lot of lather here. So I'm going to slowly add water from this point on. Stick with maybe half teaspoon increments. And I think we're getting enough lather where we're not going to have a problem with running out. It is important to bring the lather down from the sides. Sometimes that's the concentrate that you started with. Definitely want to get a good even mix. And this actually might need just a bit more water. Oh, now you know what? I should remember to run this guy a little bit drier than I might think, because she puts moisturizers and butters and, you know, helpful skin food things like that in her soap. And so that often means I need to not string it out quite so much, not add as much water as I usually do. This definitely doesn't look like I've added too much, so that's good. But I may stick with this, because this is definitely enough to get the job done. So we'll just get a good, I did get a hint of lime just now coming up from the bowl. The strength is not intense. Sweetbay, rum. I don't think I'm getting very much rum. It's definitely one of the more muted lime forward scents that I've tried. So in that sense, I kind of like it. I don't like it when it's too zesty. I'm usually a night shaver. I don't need to be startled. I don't need to be woken up. since I'm not a morning shaver, I don't need it to be something like a cup of coffee that helps me get started. All right. So it looks gorgeous. Let's go ahead and show you show you what we're looking at in terms of elasticity. Look at that, nice. Look at that. Excellent. I don't think that's too wet for this base, for my own preferences, and so it could be I just need to add a little bit of water, but it may be just right, so we'll check it out. Get my face wet one more time. I do have the tribute from Declaration Grooming, and it is a peach and pineapple type scent. I think that should go well with this lime citrus focused scent. All right. Nice comfy brush. And like I said, fairly easy splay. So it does keep the tips focused at you, but not a lot of them have split. And so it does have a little ways to go. It's not very dense. It's kind of like some of the smogs. Some of the smogs are kind of smallish, and until those tips really start to split, they don't seem like they're all that dense, but they get the job done. I've got a big head. I wear like a size 8 hat, and those little smog brushes work fine for me. I think even with my goatee, because I have such a big noggin, I think maybe that my area that needs shaving is probably comparable to your average guy. Some guys who like to try to discount my marathon runs with the blades say that I've got a goatee so I don't have to shave that area, and that is true. But I do have a honking big face. The lather's feeling really good on my face with the brush. Yeah, I wouldn't want to take it any wetter than this. Feels good. I think we worked it enough into my skin. Gave it enough time to kind of bond with my skin. I don't know if you can see the overhang here. Surely you can tell that is more, probably by a millimeter, maybe 2, and I think maybe the difference is actually the top cap. Now maybe the open comb, maybe the base plate is different with the Mark 1 as well, but the top cap, I'm pretty sure, is different. I think it's narrower. I think they widened it out to let it press down more on the blade for the Mark II. All right, let's see what we get. I think it's a great suggestion. I'm sorry I forgot the name of the person who mentioned it. It is about 24 hours since my last shave, and this does feel a little bit more tuggy. So we'll just see how everything feels on the second and third pass. If you ever have a tuggy shave and you're not really enjoying it, just get through that first pass, and you don't want to take the time to switch blades or something like that. Just get through that first pass, kind of like I am. Don't worry about great technique. Just kind of do that initial, what I just did. And then after that, mine always just turn a lot nicer once that initial layer has been removed. And let's rinse. Very nice. And yeah, I am definitely swimming in a shallow, gentle pool of lime forward scent. Not really smelling too much the bay. It's mainly a lime. Probably hints of those other ingredients are keeping it from being quite so zesty. Probably what we have going on here. Looks like the 25-second load for this brush might be a minimal amount because we've got some left. I don't need to be too stingy with it, but not an overabundance like I usually have. So I believe her soap might be near Holy Cow and toward the upper end of the spectrum where you need to maybe give it a little bit more loading time. Also, Chiseled Face's new Silk Tallow, but I think that's because it's a really firm soap. A little bit different than Holy Cow and this one. All right, so now here's a real test. Let's see how this guy does. You can definitely tell it's more aggressive. More blade feel. But still, it holds the blade pretty close to the edge. And so it's not really singing or giving that a lot of that kind of typical audio that you get with those DE89 types or the variant from Parker, Mercure Progress. Gentle touch as usual. Keep it very light. Hopefully, my goal is not really to allow my skin to look like I'm pressing in. You shouldn't see my skin really move. I'm trying to be very light. Feels good so far. Definitely some blade feel. So I think this one is not as nice as the Mark II for this blade at this age. And rinse. But one thing that can happen is with a slightly more aggressive razor, I may get a better cut. I may be impressed with the closeness that we get. With me, sometimes if it's too aggressive, I start getting a little bit more tentative with it and I don't get a good cut because I'm trying to avoid getting irritation and razor burn. All right, let's dive back in for the third pass. So now we don't have to be afraid of using all this lather. Now, you have seen me work the lather in each pass. You don't really need to do that after you're done with the first pass. So I'm just going to try and make my muscles obey my brain and not work it in like I usually do. See, I like the brush. I like the feel of the brush so much that's why I'm often not just doing a painting job, but working it and enjoying the display and all that. Yep. We've got a little bit left here. So I'll make a note of that. We'll need to load a little bit more with the Zingari Man. Oh, the scent strength. I'm going to sneeze. Whew. All right. Took care of that. The scent strength. I've been very happy with that. Now, to me, it's pretty much just a lime soap. The other parts are there, but they're just hints. Now, in a sense, they're doing their job because I think they're helping the lime not to be, like I said, as bright, as pungent as it might normally be. But it's still pretty much just a lime scent. So I'll have to think about it. Could be something. Another thing is that if you don't appreciate something right away, keep it around. Try it again in a few days. Your nose can kind of get used to it. And then you may start noticing some nuance. Definitely has happened to me before on a couple different soaps. Now let's see, now that we've got a lot of this hair taken off, how this extra exposure treats my skin. Feeling pretty good so far. I don't feel like I'm getting any kind of, irritation or razor burn. I wonder if I might be able to email the Fatip people and ask them, is it simply the top cap that's different with the Mark 1? and versus the Mark II, or is it also the base plate? And third pass, I will change the direction I come at this section right here. This is actually pretty good. I mean, I'm getting blade feel, but it's consistent, it's solid, it is predictable. Doesn't feel like I'm about to nick myself. It feels like I could if I made a mistake. But it feels pretty good. It also feels like sometimes there are razors where you feel the blade. It feels reasonably comfortable, but you think what you can experience is a slow buildup of a little bit of irritation with each pass, where by the time you get to the third pass, you're not enjoying the razor all that much. That didn't happen with this one yet. I think we're good. So I'm going to get a good rinse, take a look at the results. Also, I want to note that I use less soap than many people out there. Half a gram, 0.4 grams is what I use of soaps like Sterling and Chiseled Face, and a lot of guys out there will use 3 times that much. So just to let you know, it's also possible that I'm not getting some of these scent nuances because she may have designed it for those other guys. And so I experience it at a less intense level. However, it's a very nice, enjoyable lime scent. And of course, we've got great performance. A little bit more of a shadow than I might like to see, probably because I was treating it very lightly. So what we can do, throw a little bit of water on there, and let's just do a little neck pass just to kind of hit this section again. Kind of gentle passes is my own philosophy. Don't bear down to try to get it done in fewer passes. I mean, you can if you want, if your skin can take that. Mine doesn't like that. I want to tilt my razor, slant it over a little bit, some different ways to create some variation. And we'll see if that doesn't help us out. And then we can just reach into the thing and get some of this and go the other way. And this is feeling pretty good in terms of the blade feel I get. A lot of times I will experience I'll experience some tugginess as the razor moves through the cross grain section, and if it goes too far, the hair will switch directions and I'll be kind of going against the grain and I'll instantly notice it. I didn't get as much of that this time. That last touch-up pass took care of that shadow pretty nicely, so I'm really happy with the result. Very good. We use 3 teaspoons of water for 25 seconds of loading, and with 3 passes and a touch-up neck pass, we don't have all that much left. I could probably work a pass out of this, but it's pretty much a 4-pass lather there. So I'll try to make a mental note that this base needs a little bit more loading than some like Sterling or Fine or something like that. All right, let's do this splash. The scent. I'm getting the bay a little bit now that we're toward the end. It's possible it takes a while for that lime to kind of expire and burn up. Could be that I'm just not smelling the lime because it's so little lather left over. All right, so I don't think there's anything that will interfere with the peach and pineapple from this splash. It also has some vetiver, I believe, and patchouli to ground it, make it a little earthy without being dirty, is what he said. There is this medicinal smell here. I think the lime has affected this splash. It has affected my nose, my perception. That is very different than what I've been experiencing. It's killed the pineapple scent. Wow, this is not this is not a very good transition at all. I don't think that all of a sudden my splash has gone bad. I think it's just nose perception here. Wow. Wow. Okay. Well, don't pair those two together. How about that? All right. Whew. Yeah. Okay. 344 uses now are on the blade. I already told you about the water and the soap. Brush felt great. Hopefully by working it some, we're starting to maybe encourage some of those tips to split a little bit more. Some on the outside have split quite a bit, quite a long length down the bristle, maybe over half an inch. That's pretty good. Very happy with that. The Mark 1 was successful. It did give me a close shave. I did get a little bit more, I did get more irritation, not more irritation. I did get more blade feel and aggression feel from this razor than I do my regular Mark II. So I'll definitely step back to that. But that was a great idea. Why not try it? And I'm glad I did. All right. So we're good. We're good. So the Nomad for me is a soap that is pretty much a lime soap, but it's in the Sego base, which is terrific. And I don't have all that many full tubs of Zingari Man other than number 1. So maybe I might keep it around for that purpose. But to be honest, they're just a lime scent with just a hint of something else may not draw me, may not pull me back to it when there are so many other good soaps out there. So we'll just have to see. I'll try it again some other time and see if I can pick up some nuance, some interest with it, and we'll find out there. All right, guys. Well, this is Sugar Daddy Shaves, and I sure hope that there's been something in this video to help you out. And you guys take care. Have a good day.